Stick around at the end of this video for an explanation of what happened to the bump on my head in last week's video. Hello, welcome back to Tainted Cabins. It's kind of a rainy evening. It's been raining off and on all day, and I'm basically getting the tractor hooked up so first thing in the morning I can take off and go to Southern Ohio. This is the first time though that I have put the brush hog on and the tractor with the loader and the backhoe on there. If you see, it's kind of hanging off the end a little bit, but I was able to get both on. A lot of people will ask me, especially when I have the trailer in one of my videos, how long a trailer do you have? What do you recommend? And personally, if you have a lot of attachments like me, I believe 20 feet is probably about the best fit for you. You can get a bunch of attachments on there along with your tractor. I did want to take some other ones with me. I was thinking about taking the brush crusher, but I don't think I had the room this time. Also, if I had a rake, I would be wanting to take a rake with me down to Southern Ohio. We have a lot of projects to do down there, but I think what's going to happen is I'm going to get this stuff down there. We'll do what we need to do with the brush hog. With the loader, we're going to be spreading some stone around, and then with the backhoe, we might be digging a ditch so we could lay down some conduit to run power to our shed. And then once those projects are done, I'll try to get some assistance from my neighbor to load up the brush crusher or the forks and throw them in the back of my pickup truck so I can lift them out easily with the tractor if I take more attachments down to Southern Ohio. I probably could have turned the brush hog 90 degrees here and saved myself about another 24 to 30 inches. Front to back, the brush hog is about 80 inches, and then of course the width is supposedly 48, so it's probably around 50 inches or so, the width of it. So I could have bought myself a little bit more room if I wanted to turn it sideways, but there was no way I was going to try to lift it up once I got it up there. And I was not going to try to tie a strap to it and go back and forth with the tractor and push and pull it into position. Especially I got some new grass here. I kind of already turfed it a little bit just loading the tractor up today. I just don't want to do any more damage to the lawn we planted earlier in the spring. So I got a few more things to pack up, and then I'll meet you down in Southern Ohio. Okay, we're down here in Southern Ohio, and this is a first. I got the trailer up the driveway. I had to use four-wheel drive to get it up here, but I didn't really scrape it all coming up the driveway, which normally I would, and that's usually why I would always leave the trailer down by the road, unload everything, move the trailer off to the side, and then either bring stuff up by UTV or by the tractor. But this time I was able to bring everything up here, which is good because I'm going to be using the tractor for a couple weeks down here. I wanted to get the trailer out of sight and away from the road, and also I wanted to keep it off the grass down there so I can cut it without having to move the trailer around and cut different areas of grass. So that's worked out really good. I got to open things up with the house and turn on some of the breakers, get the pump going, and maybe the air conditioning. We'll see how hot it is in there, but we got a lot of work to do. Why don't you stick around? Okay, so I was unloading the truck and getting things ready in the house, and I turned on the breaker for the water pump, and there was no water pressure, so I had to go underneath the crawl space and repressurize that tank down there. So I'm wondering if there's a slow drip somewhere. So maybe there was some air in the lines. I'm not positive. But anyways, I turned the pressure tank back on, and then I noticed when I got here that if you look, there's an outline of where they set the water tank. So the water tank is right below me here, and then the perimeter is all settled. And if you look, this is a pretty good depression right now. It's kind of wet down there. And I think what happened, and I hate to say it, and this is a shame, but I think water came down the hillside here. This depression from the dirt settling created a place for the water to pond, and it actually went up and over this lid. You can see sediment, which is reaching all the way to the top here. So I think what happened is water infiltrated into the water tank. I opened up the lid and it was pretty cloudy in there, and much cloudier than it should be. It definitely looked like there was silt around the edges of this sleeve that goes above the ground, and then there was silt around the base of the lid, and then you can see silt that got inside the tank. So I'm not sure how much got in there. It couldn't have been a whole heck of a lot of water because I think the tank would have been full up to the lid if it really dumped into there. But it contaminated the fresh water that we have in there. And I looked at the filter underneath, and you can see the dirty water starting to come and infiltrate that filter. So I called the plumber and I called the excavator just to get their opinion. The plumber suggested a couple things, that we could wait it out, let the water settle, and I kind of concurred with him on that too. I brought that up, let it settle, and see if the water clears up. Kind of like if you live in a local municipality that has a fire department that flushes hydrants every year, that sometimes the water gets cloudy for a day or two because they kick up all that sediment. So I'm hoping that maybe things will settle in there, things will clear up. I have my friend Don coming tomorrow. I'm texting him to see if he'd bring some bleach down, and we'll bleach that water just to clear out any bacteria that may have came in from the hillside. And then I might have to change the filter more often under there. I thought maybe I'd just have to change that filter once a year, but I might have to do it a couple times just on this tank of water. I really don't want to have it all pumped out and then scrubbed and then get another water delivery. If we were living here full time and this was our only residence, well then I would say yes, we should pump this out and clean everything out. But we're just here as kind of like a little getaway. So I'm crossing my fingers we could let this water settle. It's going to clear up a little bit. I ran it in the kitchen for a little while. I've been washing my hands and rinsing some things in the kitchen. And you can see it's getting cloudy in that kitchen faucet. I'm trying not to use the hot water side at all. I don't want to let it infiltrate into the hot water tank. So tomorrow we'll take another look at it and see if it cleared up at all or not. I'm hoping that it clears up and that we could just deplete this tank. Once it gets low, I'll just get like a sump pump or something and get as much water out as I can out of it. And then we can examine it a little bit better, see how much sediment or silt got on the bottom, and if we need to clean it, then we'll clean it then and then get a fresh water delivery. But I really don't want to pump it out right now. So I did a little bit more investigating, and this is overnight now. The water is still cloudy, didn't clear up whatsoever, and I'm thinking that this happened about a week ago. So I'm told that this red clay silt is really not going to settle all that quickly. It could take several weeks for it before the water were to clear up. And then every time that pump clicks on, it's going to stir things up again. So I really don't have any choice now, but we're going to have to empty that tank out.
A&J Hauling, this is Amy.
Hi, Amy. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you, Tom?
Okay. I have a quick question. I don't know if you guys are capable of doing this or... long story short is the way they graded our lot and the way the rain came down the other day and settled around our new water tank, it almost created like a pool on top. And what happened is a bunch of rainwater came in and all that fresh silt and everything all around it pretty much contaminated all our water in the tank.
Right.
So I'm just curious, and this wouldn't be today or anything. I'm looking for ideas, but I didn't know if you guys had any pumps that would be able to pump out that water tank.
Yes.
Okay.
We do. Let me talk to Jim real quick, Tom, and find out, because he would be the one that have to run that pump.
Yeah.
And then let me get right back with you here shortly. And I'm assuming you want pumped out and then a new load put in.
Do you know how much water can we get out of there with the pump? Does it leave an inch or 2 inches, or can I like try to scrub out the bottom or
I mean, yeah, it's got a maybe I think it's a 2-inch thing on the bottom, like a screen.
Okay.
So I mean, he could even take that off and even get it closer to the bottom, but he can pump as much out of it as you need it pumped out, and then if you want to get down in it and like try to get some of it out by cleaning it that way before I put new water in, that.
Right.
But yeah, let me talk to him and ask him when he's available to do that.
Okay.
Which hopefully today. So let me give you a call back here in just a few minutes.
Okay, no problem. I appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Tom.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Unfortunately, all this water in the tank is going to go to waste, but I thought I'd use a little bit up just to kind of clear off my UTV, hose that down a little bit. And then as they were pumping out the dirty water out of the tank, I tried to rinse the riser off the best I could to get all that silt off of that so it's nice and clean for the new fresh water, and then hopefully this dirty stuff's going to get pumped out with the rest of the water. As the tank started getting lower, it became quite evident that there was quite a bit of mud at the bottom of it. As the water got lower, it was easier for me to just go down into the tank and help direct the suction hose to selectively pick areas that were muddier than others. I did turn off the breaker for the pump, but I still had some pressure left in the pressure tank to help me rinse off some of the areas of the tank. Now, of course, the worst possible timing, I'm in the tank and the Hartzler home people are here to do a final walkthrough with me to go over the house before they give me the keys and it's all said and done with them. So I was able to give him a few tasks to do in the meantime. The pump was only capable about getting the water down to about 1.5 to 2 inches at the bottom of the tank. I went and got my shop vac, we hooked that up to some power, lowered it down into the tank, and I filled the shop vac up probably a good 12 to 15 times. That's gonna be a light one. I can only get so much done with the shop vac, and now it's just using a towel and wringing it out into a bucket. I've done pretty much all I can do with the towel. The next thing we're going to do is we've got extra water. We've got about 600 gallons to spare that we can put in here. Throw some water in and suck it back out. Throw some more in and suck it back out. Yeah. While I'm down here, I might as well just for the first...
Okay. We'll just hand it. Here's the...
Spray like the corners and stuff to get that stirred up.
Yeah.
Need more water, Tom?
Just press.
Fill it up, we can fill it up.
Oh, we'll do another quick rinse just
Okay.
so we got it, if you don't mind.
Turn it on.
I've cleaned it about as good as we're going to get it. We're going to fill it up with fresh water, but first I'm going to get out of here. While the fresh water is going into the tank, I turned on the pump, and now I just want to flush everything out. Flush all the toilets, clean out the water lines, and then I'm going to need to go below and change out the filter. See if there's pressure at that garden hose. Alright, so we got some fresh clear water coming back through the pipes, and I do not want to go through cleaning that tank out again. water back on?
Yeah, I had to shut it off because I had to take the spinning off.
One of the things on my list for the Hartzler Home guy was this spigot was not working, and apparently the PEX was kinked underneath the floor, and he went in through the crawl space and took care of that. I have another list of things that he took care of, but we'll probably take care of that in another video. I'm going to attempt to take JD here to smooth out this area and make sure that water does not back up again like that. Now you really can't tell from the camera angles, but we are on a bunch of inclines here. There's also a lot of depressions for the wheels to go into that kind of put you off balance and you feel a little precarious. So I'm going very slow with this. Like I said, we're going to smooth this out. We're going to make an area so water can drain away from that riser. I can tell you now that I'm narrating this that the next evening we did get some rain and I pulled the lid off and you could see again some silt had seeped into the riser area. I then took a garden hose and just ran it around the outside of that riser, and I could see water leaching in just from running the garden hose. So I called the excavator, and he is going to have to come back out, dig up all around the riser, remove the riser, and try to reseal it. As a precaution, if it should rain in the meantime, I'm going to continue to make a little swale here so it will drain away from the riser. Okay, so this water tank probably set me back a full day of work that I did not plan on doing, but needed to be done. We did dig out a little bit around the riser. I uncovered it this morning. We had some rain last night and it looked like some more silt was seeping in through the seams of the riser. I know I saw him put a bead of caulk around it and it's screwed in, so I'm not sure what the deal is. He offered to come back out and disassemble all this and put it back on. So we'll play it by ear and see what happens. But for now, we kind of took some of the dirt away and I made a little trench that goes down the hill here so water cannot accumulate. And this clay doesn't really soak up much water, so I think the path of least resistance is trying to get in the seams. When we got the water delivery, we filled the riser up almost to the top. And we're kind of watching it to see if any water was seeping out, and we didn't really notice anything. But it could just be very slow and minute. I really don't want this tank to get contaminated again with all that silt. That was a real pain to clean that out. Okay, so there were quite a few comments about the bump on my head on last week's video, or why did I have the bandage up here on my head. And some of you have got it, and some of you might not have just realized it, or maybe just had no clue what the gist was with it. But when I was in the bathroom flushing the toilet for the very first time on our property. Okay, August 3rd, 2023, a red letter date in the history of science.
Here's a red letter date in the history of science, November 5th, 1955.
And then after that historic toilet flush, I said I was going to stand on the porcelain of the toilet and hang a clock. I'm going to stand on this porcelain now and go hang up this clock. I'll be back with you in a little bit.
I remember it vividly. I was standing on the edge of my toilet, hanging a clock. The porcelain was wet. I slipped, hit my head on the edge of the sink, and when I came to, I had a revelation.
So that's the reason why I had that bandage on my head. I didn't get hurt. I didn't bump it in the crawl space down below, but I thought I would just throw that in there just as a little side thing to see how many people would notice.
After I fell off my toilet, I drew this.
Next week we're going to start working on the parking areas. We got a couple loads of gravel coming in. JD's really going to have a nice workout, I think. So why don't you stick around and click on that little bell when you want to know when a new video is coming out. Click that like button and keep an eye on us. Take care, everybody. All right, so we got the B-bore fabric all down, and I'm just waiting for a load of stone to come. Hopefully they're still coming this afternoon. It's supposed to be coming around 1 o'clock. It's a little bit afternoon right now, so